So I see a lot of familiar faces. How many people here is this the first time you've been to one of my presentations? Okay, good. So it's more than half. I definitely see that I attract a crowd of ladies here because there's no guys in the audience today. So I'm not going to take that personal, or the wrong way for that matter. That's true. You guys, my wife would agree with you. So, so like I said before, I'm Officer Myers with the West Goshen Police Department. I've been doing this presentation here at Harrison Hill for about 4 years. I've also done it over at Arbor Square, Merle Gardens. So every year, it seems like there's a bunch of new information. So if you were here last year, most likely there's new information here because it seems like every couple months we see a changeover, or the scammers are going back to some old tricks that they had in their pocket that they're bringing back out. And my goal here today is just to show you guys some of them and answer some questions. I'm not an expert in this. I don't know anybody out there that really is, because once we feel like we understand what's going on, we realize there's something else coming down the pipeline. So there's some tricks and tactics that I'm going to go over with you guys a little bit today and show you some new examples of things that are out there. So let me get started here. So I think we in the past, if you've been to this before, this is a new way I'm doing this here off my phone this year, so hopefully I can get it to go right. So the FBI every year tallies a lot of the statistics that I'm going to show you. They're usually about a year or two. I don't want to say they're behind, but they wait to make sure that they have all the information before they put out their report. And the report and the numbers that I'm going to give you today are from 2021. And those numbers have gone up from last year's statistics that I gave you guys from 2020. So 2020, the year, we want to try to forget, the year COVID, ransacked us and kept us from going anywhere. And anybody that wanted to call us and talk to us on the phone, we just wanted to hear people's voices. So I thought that 2020 was going to be the biggest year that we saw for scams, and it wasn't. It actually went up from 2020 to 2021. It went up 74%. The dollar amount went up 74%. The amount of scams went down a little bit, but they were cashing in on these scams a little bit heavier because they were a little more in depth. So if you see some of these numbers that I'm going to show you, they're from the 2021 FBI results on their website. And I did print out I think it's a 23-page pamphlet here, and it's all of their data that they compiled. It's pretty interesting to read through. I'll leave it here on the table, and then when I leave today, I'll leave it out on this table right here if you guys want to take a look at it, or show any of the guys around here that chose not to come to today's presentation. So you guys at this point have lived a really full life. You guys probably have grandchildren. You guys probably have stories, and I could probably sit here and just hear you guys, gloat about your family and everything, vacations that you guys have had. At this point, you're supposed to be living it up, right? You're not supposed to be worried about somebody coming after the money that you saved, the property that you've accumulated. How many people here? I know you guys all live here, right? Is there any visitors today? Does anybody have a property outside of here, like a rental property or anything like that? No? Boats, RVs, anything like that? So sold it, got rid of it so that you can live comfortably right now, right? So that you don't have to worry about the creditors coming at tax season and biting your nails thinking I can't believe I have to pay this much money to the government again. It's not a secret. They're targeting you. The scammers, the bad guys, wherever they may be, whether they're in this country or another country, they are targeting 60 years old and over. Why? It's a good question, and there's answers to it. So I'll get to them in a second. Like I said, 60 years and older are the statistics that the FBI put together here. In 2021, there was 92,371 victims. So the dollar amount lost, they've accumulated at $1.7 billion from those victims right there. And I do have a little bit of a breakdown of what type of scams they're making the big money from and what type of scams they're, basically just getting little chunks from. Ask yourselves these questions. Do I tend to be a little over trusting and polite when somebody calls on the phone? Do I, talk to them a little longer than maybe I should? If I can tell that they have bad intentions, do I maybe keep them on the line a little longer just because I'm a nice person? Do you guys we already talked about this a little bit. Do you own another home? If you've sold your home, you have financial savings, you have good credit, because good credit right now is worth just as much to the scammers as a bank full of money. So they're going after your credit line, they're going after your good credit. That's appealing to them as well. How many people here have ever filed a report of fraud in the past? Has anybody had to file a police report for fraud or file a report with the FBI? Nobody? Would everybody in the room know how to do that? No? So that's another thing. Most people aren't sure how to even file that report. So in 2021, we had 92,371 reports, but how many people didn't report it? How many people were victims and didn't actually report that? Does anybody want to take you're not going to be on video at this point. I have you guys out. It's all focused on me. But if anybody wants to slip their hand up and come forward, I would love it. But I'm not going to put anybody on the spot. So how many people in here would, now I know the fact that we have no guys here, I know the prideful gender is, they're not going to sit here and say, oh yeah, I'm not going to tell anybody. But I think we know how it works. You get scammed, the last thing you want to do is to tell your children, your grandchildren, whoever. If you have somebody, whether it's an accountant or a financial advisor, the last thing you want to do is tell those people, because what? They're going to think you're not capable of handling your own money. You're not capable of taking care of yourself. It's a real thing that people ask themselves, and I think it's valid. There's a lot of people that won't tell other people that they got scammed. Even a confidential police report, people don't come to us. I think last year I had some lady, and I don't see her here, but she came up to me and she said, I got scammed 5 years ago and I never reported it. And it was almost $10,000. If there's one person in a group this size, think about the entire United States and how many people didn't report that, and how much those numbers are probably actually inflated over what I have here for you guys today. So the grandparent scam, if you guys have all heard of this, has anybody not heard of the grandparent scam? This is one of the more popular ones. So basically the criminals pose as a relative. They call you up and usually say, hey, grandmom, or hey, grandpop, I need your help. And they'll come up with this great story. I was in Italy this summer. Well, my trip got pushed back, and now I'm here, and there was an issue with my visa, and I'm in jail in Italy, and I need somebody to wire me money really fast. You're my one call. I couldn't get a hold of mom or dad. You're my one call. Can you help me out? Very convincing. Most of the times they don't even ask, who is this? It's, oh, okay. If you have a grandson or a granddaughter, maybe you don't, maybe right away you realize this isn't my granddaughter, this isn't my grandson. I don't have a granddaughter, I don't have a grandson. Maybe not, but it's all about the presentation for them. If they make this call 500 times and they get one person to wire transfer $3,000, that's a pretty good day. I've never made $3,000 in one day, but that's a pretty good payday if they fail 499 times and they cash in that one time. That's not bad. So this was really big the last couple of years. We were seeing this a lot. The government impersonation scams. You have criminals pose as a government employee, whether it's somebody from your local sheriff's department saying you missed jury duty, or it could be somebody threatening to arrest you or prosecute you. The sheriff's department has a warrant for your arrest because you missed jury duty, and the only way to get back in good graces with them is to go buy an iTunes gift card for $100 and maybe throw in a couple prepaid Visa Green Dot cards, and we'll wipe your record clean. Sounds ridiculous, but I'm hoping it sounds ridiculous coming to me. I'm not a good pitch person, so they make it sound really good. They make it sound very official. They have a lot of information on you that you might not know of. They may have your credit score. They may have your address. They may have your prior 5 addresses, or your husband or your ex-husband or your other relatives' information, and they're going to use this to their advantage. Let me get to this next one, because this one is one that is very new. A lot of people don't even understand what cryptocurrency is. Cryptocurrency is basically a digital form of accumulating wealth. Cryptocurrency basically there's a lot of different companies out there now that do it. Basically, they're telling you, I'm going to use this digital form of currency to pay for things. And the only way it works is if other people will accept that form of payment. And right now there are companies that are accepting cryptocurrency. Which, does anybody here have any cryptocurrency? No, I don't either. For me, it's just not one of those things that I see myself getting into. I know people have made millions of dollars off of cryptocurrency, but there's also plenty of people out there who've lost more. So it's confusing. I always my wife always tells me, she's like, you know what, stay in your lane. This is not my lane, okay? I know for a fact that cryptocurrency is foreign to me. If somebody calls me up asking, do you want to invest in cryptocurrency? Do you want to, pay for something? The answer is no for me. So in 2021, there was over 60 victims. Doesn't sound like a lot, but there were 60 victims involving some type of cryptocurrency. So these are some of the names that the cryptocurrency companies are going by. There's Bitcoin, Ethereum, some people call it Dogcoin, Dogecoin, and Tether. But you can see 60 victims reported this, and look at the losses. People see something here in the form of a cryptocurrency, this new shiny way of accumulating wealth, and they think, you know what? I've heard of all these millionaires that are getting rich over cryptocurrency. Maybe I should get on board with this. The scammers are aware of this. They're targeting the 60 plus community and saying, hey, we have free cryptocurrency for you. We want you guys to invest in this. They want your actual money, because there's usually an exchange here. So what's happening is that slide that I just showed you guys with the government services coming after you and wanting prepaid gift cards and Apple gift cards. Now what they're doing is they take those gift cards, and it seems silly, because you're like, why would they want an Apple gift card? What does this person on the other end of the phone going to do with an Apple gift card? So what they do is, it's an easy way. Let's just say they want to tell you you owe them money for jury duty that you missed. You have a $500 fine. You can pay it with an Apple gift card. Just go to CVS, come back here, scratch off the back, and give me the numbers on the back of that card. As soon as you give them the numbers to that Apple gift card, they can use that to buy cryptocurrency, because this is turned into a universal currency. They're not exchanging American dollars for euros or yen. They're going right with a Google gift card or an Apple gift card, and they're transferring it to Bitcoin in a matter of seconds. And it's gone at that point, because whoever has the Bitcoin in their wallet, their digital wallet, that's all there is. That's where it lives. There's no way for a bank to go and look for that anymore. There's only one place that exists. There's no records of it except for in that person's digital wallet, which is usually, something that looks like a phone, some little hard drive or database that they're using to exchange online digital money. My point behind showing you guys this is like my wife tells me, stay in my lane. If this is something that is foreign to you, don't even entertain it. Not a single reputable government agency is going to ask you to pay a fine or your power bill or your cable bill using Bitcoin or a gift card of any sort. Pico will not call you up. Xfinity, Comcast, Chester County Police or Chester County Sheriff's Department is not going to call you up and say, "Hey, you have an outstanding warrant. Pay us in Bitcoin." It's not going to happen. If they try to get you this, it's a red flag immediately. Know that it's a scam. So, like I said, you just mentioned about your computer basically being taken over. Usually, you have to do something. There's usually a link that you have to click on to invite them onto your computer. And a lot of times it comes up as a pop-up ad. Your computer has a virus, and there may be nothing wrong with your computer, but that pop-up is going to convince you to click on that. And as soon as you click on that link, you're basically opening a door. You're unlocking the deadbolt and letting them in. The tech support scams, usually they're targeting people that are unfamiliar with the latest technology or the tricks that they have going on. They're, I've had an iPhone for years, and I still don't know half the things that are on there that's capable, whether it's the security features or the lack of security features. There's apps on there that I click on every day, and I have no idea if me clicking on that app is actually the app that I'm clicking on. And I just kind of take it for granted that my phone is probably smarter than me, has more security than me. But that's not always the case, especially when there's a lot of people out there that don't use smartphones and you're using your computers. Those computers do not get updated as much as the cell phones. You actually have to have a tech person or have a reputable website or antivirus on your computer that's doing that for you. A lot of the smartphones actually, every couple months you'll see a new update. That new update is also updating your malware and your antivirus protection and stuff. But if you're doing stuff over a computer, a lot of times those pop-up ads are going to think, they're going to make you think. They're going to make you think, oh man, it's been a while since I updated the virus protection on this computer. Oh, look at this. Here's my way of doing it. Let me just click on this and update it for $9.99. That's cheaper than it cost me last time. And now you just open the door for somebody to hack your computer. And your computer has a lot of valuable information on there for these people. If they can get in and find your history of payments, if you're paying your credit cards or checking your bank statements, they now have access to all that information. So the bottom line here is don't let anyone gain access to your computer unless you trust them. If it's your tech guy or a computer guy that comes over here, I don't know, do you guys have somebody that comes and helps you out? Do they ever have like a Comcast does, or once in a while the Comcast guy? Yeah, and they'll come out. So let me ask you, when you call them, do you look up the phone number for Comcast, or are you You know the number? Okay. So there are some people that, you get and let me put a pin in that because I'll show you that slide. That's another new one. And they tried to get me on one the other day, and I'll show you about that. So here's another one. We talk about this every year, and this isn't to put anybody on the spot here. It's real, and I hate that it happens because they're taking advantage of, we just had Valentine's Day. They're taking advantage of people's passion, their love, their desire to be with somebody else. And I put this little blurb up here that you meet somebody online. This is some new way of getting out there in the world. Even if it's just to chat with somebody, you might never meet them. There may never be an intention to meet up with this person, but you figure, you know what, there's a lot of people out there chatting online. Maybe we swap phone numbers and eventually start talking. Things move kind of quickly, and after some time they're like, hey, we've been talking. Do you want to meet up sometime? No, that's fine. But then there's personal things being shared, and you feel this connection with the other person, and next thing you know, they're giving you a sob story about their business that they're operating is about to go under if they don't get this shipment of supplies. And they've been having a problem with the bank. The money's not transferring, and you've just spent a year. And when I tell you that some of these scammers have invested years into people with these romance scams, a lot of times they'll do their homework. They'll find an obituary, and they'll sell your information. They'll sell a list of widows' names on the dark web, and who do you think they're going to go after? This person may have just inherited a lot of money from a life insurance policy, and now we're going to spend the next year trying to get that person to trust me. And then when it comes down to this connection between the two of you, now all of a sudden my shipment of hardwood floor is stuck in Singapore and I can't get it without $7,000. You being the nice, trusting person, you've invested this time in with this person, you say, it's just $7,000. This guy has a billion-dollar company. I don't want to listen to him lose his business because of something that I can help him out with. So you go to the bank and you wire $7,000, and he's so grateful, and everything. You just did some great thing for this person that you've never met before, that you don't even know if they're real. You may have talked to them on the phone. That doesn't mean that they're a real person. You can buy voice altering programs now where I can get on the phone and disguise my voice as a lady or a little kid, or somebody with a very deep voice. So here's a couple. We had this one during the pandemic a lot with the Medicare and health insurance scams. They were doing genetic testing. We want to see if you have antibodies. They were saying that it was free. They would call you up and just say, hey, we track everybody now, and we saw that you made a couple payments at the local Giant. Have you been vaccinated? Yes. Well, we want to make sure that everything's going good. We're going to send you a thing, swab your cheek. All that was completely false, but they put a form in there, and on that form they asked for your Medicare and health insurance information. Well, now they have some personal information about you. You're starting to develop a trust with them. Next thing you know, they're asking for your last 4 of your social and your date of birth, and then they're asking you to confirm your social security number, and next thing you know, they have all this information about you that they shouldn't. These advanced fee scams, there's a prize or some foreign lottery, some government grant or an inheritance that is owed to you, and this is giving you an opportunity to cash in a lot of money, or to get a job opportunity from home, somewhere to make some extra cash. Maybe you just got scammed out of a large sum of money, and you're looking to recoup some of that money, and you're like, you know what, I'm past the point where I want to go drive down to work at Wawa, or I'm not going to go work at the local store, so maybe there's a way for me to work at home. And some of the job opportunities, maybe it's something as simple as sending you a link to print out. How many people in here have printers in their room? Good, a little more than half of you guys. So they send you, would this be appealing to you if somebody said, hey, you have a printer, you can make $3,000 a week. All you have to do is print stuff, pack envelopes, and this actually used to be a thing. There's a lot of people that made money for a long time. So you're sending out mailings, fake checks to people who are cashing in those fake checks, and it's a big cycle, and you think you're doing the right thing, but you're doing an illegal operation with this. You know what? I think I have that on a slide coming up. So you just spoiled the rest of my presentation. So I have nothing else. So if it's too good to be true, it probably is. That really is I wish I could sit here and say that the lottery, more people are winning the lottery, but it's not true. It's still the same. We have a guy showed up. I'm going to put you on the spot because me and you, we're the only ones here right now. So you're late though. You're 40 minutes late. My grandson was on. I forgive you. We forgive you. If you can get a couple extra pieces, we can talk about things after. But if you can get a couple of these little facts here, there's a lot of good stuff coming up still. So the phishing scams, we kind of talked about it already. They call them phishing scams. If you never knew this, it's think of yourself being in a pond full of fish. The more times that hook hits the water, eventually they're going to catch one. So maybe they're putting information out there online. Maybe they're sending out flyers in the mail. Maybe they're texting you. Maybe they're calling you. It's all a form of phishing. They're phishing. One of the things that I saw, and I haven't seen any lately, I haven't handled any lately, but there was robocalls that basically they would call you, you'd see a number pop up, and you would say hello, and a voice on the other line would say, can you hear me? And a lot of people would reply to that and say, yes, I can hear you. Hello? Yes, I can hear you. Yes. And they would just keep saying yes over and over again. Well, this robocall is storing your voice saying yes. So they're putting together a scam with your actual voice, because nowadays they can use your vocal imprint on bank accounts and stuff like that. And TD Bank asked me to open up I guess it was called a vocal imprint. I'm not sure. I might have to go back and edit this video later on if this sounds ridiculous. But now they have you saying yes. So how many times are you asked to confirm things over the phone, whether it's a lease of a car or a purchase of something big? Now they have you saying yes over and over again, 15 different ways. Kind of weird. We didn't get a lot of those, but I did hear of some of them. The tech support scam, I put that on a lot of these slides because it really is the biggest one that's out there. The charity scams, and these we saw a lot during COVID because there was a lot of charities out there that were reaching out that needed, the SPCA was one of them. They needed, there's a lot of pets out there, and people love helping animals. They would see the animals on a flyer. If it was a pop-up window and you see an animal, malnourished without a home, and donate $5. It's not right. It's just $5. It's nothing big. Well, you click on that link and it just opened your computer for something else. You were trying to do something nice and give to a charity, and they just ransacked your whole computer. It really does come down to being proactive. Learn about this stuff. Tell all the guys in here in the building, you got to come to my presentations too. Be proactive. I am not a huge tech guy. So if we're talking about uploading software to your computer, I'm probably not your guy for that. Like I said, I haven't owned a computer for 10 years. My computer is my phone at this point. Everything I do is on my phone, and it gets updated every month or every couple months. and there's new antivirus software on there, and that kind of helps me out. But if you do have a computer and you do need to secure everything, make sure you're finding a good antivirus software. Don't trust a pop-up ad. If you're saying to yourself, you know what, I used to use Norton antivirus, and you see a Norton antivirus pop-up window come up in the corner, or a McAfee window pops up on your computer, and you're like, oh, this is what I have. I'm just going to re-update it for free. I'm going to click on this. Actually go online, Google McAfee antivirus software, and make sure, and I think one of my upcoming slides, I'll show you one of the ways that they try to trick you. Even when you're trying to do the right thing, there's still ways that they can get you here. Does anybody have any questions about that? Like I said, I don't really get into the software updates on computers, even though I should, because according to this, the tech scams are the big ones. But I think a lot of them are starting to move to cell phones, because that's what a lot of people are using. So remember what I said about clicking on links. Picture this text being a lot smaller. If I'm looking at that, a lot of those look like reputable websites on my phone. On here, I'm enlarging it so you guys can see what it actually is saying. This is not Amazon's link. They used a 0 in there instead of an O. So if that shows up in an email, let's just say you receive a gift from your grandchild or your son or daughter, and you have to click on Amazon.com to claim your gift. Well, that link right there will send you to a different website that'll look just like Amazon, and they're gonna get anything that they can from you at that point. They're probably gonna upload a virus to your computer with pop-up windows and all that other stuff. Here's some more examples. Sometimes that 2 in a smaller font and a different text will look like a Z. YouTube, that, depending on how good your eyes are, that could look like a YouTube. Same with this one. You see double letters in there, and most people don't think anything of it, because guess what? In normal English, you would write, YouTube with a space in between. Most people aren't looking at that like it could be a corrupted link. And then stuff like this. You see actual, Amazon, and you're like, oh, that looks good. Well, I have no idea what all this stuff means. These are just different doors in that link that takes me down something, and maybe this is something they're advertising. Maybe you got on an email that Amazon sent you, and maybe you have been looking for a juicer on Amazon, and so maybe this says Amazon/juice, and you're like, and then search, and you're like, oh, it must have known that I searched for a juicer. That's not going to take you to where you need to be. I have no idea. This one came from our tech guy at our department. I have no idea what YouTube Watch Kittens is, but thinking about this, actually saying it out loud made me think. We've had, I told you guys that I was one of our juvenile officers. One of the things that kids are getting tricked by now, just like you have scams in the 60 and older community, I think the uptick is going to start showing that they're scamming juveniles too, because every one of those kids in that school over at East has one of these. And every one of those kids, almost every one of those kids, has an Instagram, a Facebook, a Snapchat, all these different social media outlets. Well, guess what's attached to those? Your email. And most emails are attached to your phones in some way or another. So what's happening is, we had a case not too long ago, a couple months ago, where a girl got on her Instagram, she checked her email, and she saw that she got an email from a friend. Let's call her Jenny. It's not really her name, but let's call her Jenny. So Jenny sends Sally a email that says, hey, I just saw this video and it reminded me of you. Well, maybe Jenny likes kittens. Maybe she doesn't. but maybe this email went to a bunch of different people. Now when Jenny clicks on watch kittens because this friend saw that this video reminded me of her, she's like, oh, I'll click on that. Well, that might show you a video of cute kittens and you might not think anything of it. But guess what you just did? You clicked on a link that was corrupted, and now this person just hacked your email. And now they're going to use this email to send 20 other emails with the exact same thing. Hey, I just saw this video that reminded me of you. Boom, watch kittens on YouTube. What happened was, in this specific case, this girl clicked and I think it wasn't YouTube, it was a Snapchat video. Well, that Snapchat video actually had a virus on it that allowed the person sending it, as soon as that link was clicked, it allowed the person sending it to get into her Instagram account. And now the person changed the password on her Instagram and he owns all these pictures of her now. This is a new one. I literally just heard this word yesterday and I was like, you know what? I'm going to put that in my PowerPoint. So I put this in here this morning. That's how new this is. So smishing. I had no idea this was even a thing until the other day, but I didn't actually have a word for it. So what smishing is a type of fraud that happens through your text messages. Does that everybody? I don't want to say, how do I word this? How many people in here have smartphones? Okay. How many people in here have iPads or tablets? Any way to text message anybody, anything like that? Could work with emails too, but this is mainly, smishing is using text messages to scam somebody. And basically what happens here is you have a scammer, they're impersonating an organization to steal your information. They're usually sending you a link that's designed to download malware onto your device. As good as these phones are with the antivirus software and as good as they are to protect your phone from stuff like this, you still click on a link and it's on your phone now. So basically what's happening is you get a text message. You know what? Let me give you an example. Right here, you get a text message saying this. Now, this phone number right here could be real because now you can use a Verizon VoIP. You can create a phone number to show up on the other end. My phone rings one day and it's my parents. It says home on there. It saw that this number coming in was the same number that I have stored in my phone as my parents. And it comes in and I'm like, okay, so I answer it and here it's a robocall. It's a robot on the other phone, on the other line. My parents have no idea. They didn't authorize their phone number to be used, but it doesn't matter. You can have reputable companies' phone numbers show up in your phone now. And like this right here, it says the IRS is filing a lawsuit against you. For more information, call that number. Now, if you have smartphones, you know that you can just click on that number and it will call the number for you. So if somebody sees this and they get that urgent feeling, the IRS is filing a lawsuit against you on an urgent basis. They're using wording in there to actually get you to make a quick decision. Oh my gosh, the IRS is filing information. Otherwise, your arrest warrant will be forwarded to your local police department and your property and bank accounts and Social Security benefits will be frozen by the government. That's a real text message that somebody got. Okay? A lot of people are going to click on that number. I have no idea how to call the IRS. They put their phone number in here. Maybe the IRS is not going to send you a text message like that. Okay? If you do sign up, the IRS does have an app. And if you sign up to get notifications, I believe they will send you notifications on your phone now. They didn't used to do that. I always said if you get a text message from the IRS, it's a scam. Well, now, because they realize that a lot of people are using apps, the IRS has a IRS Go app, and you can sign up for notifications on there. Here's another one. Charles, important notification regarding your USPS delivery. And then a number. Yep. Very popular, especially around Christmas time. Everybody's waiting for they get on Amazon and they're like, man, where my package should have been here yesterday. Well, everything at Christmas is slow, so all they have to do is send something like this, and you're like, oh, that's probably my Amazon. That's probably my present for so-and-so. So let me click on it and find out where it is. Well, you just open yourself up to a malware on your phone. So this one, my dad actually got, and he forwarded it to me. So this is not how you spell my dad's name. Okay, so right there, there's one thing that they had wrong. My dad does not have AT&T either. So that's another thing, but there's a lot of people out there that do have AT&T. So if this was a hook hitting the water, there's some fish that are going to bite at that, because right here, your account is now, my dad knows my dad, for starters, knows that he doesn't have AT&T. He also knows that that's not how you spell his name. But he sends this to me. He goes, is there any way somebody could have opened up a AT&T account in my name and racked up this charge? And that's a very plausible situation, right? So he clicks on that number to call them. Now, at this point, I have no idea if anything got downloaded to my dad's phone. He clicks on it. I got online and I looked up this link right here for the fast pay. And that, I think, is where they're trying to get you. The phone number goes to AT&T. Okay, so some people are going to get this. A lot of people will call the phone number. A lot of people won't. But what happens is, when you go, if you're like, you know what, I don't trust clicking on this link, so I'm going to actually go to Google and I'm going to type in AT&T.com FastPay. Well, guess what? There is a website out there that is called AT&T.com FastPay. It has no link to AT&T at all. You can get on there and get this. You can make a payment without logging in. Sounds ridiculous, right? This is kind of like where I started the presentation off with. This changes so frequently. I could come 2 weeks from now and have a new presentation for you guys. There's a couple places out there that I try to keep up with, because I come into the 60 plus communities. I go on AARP all the time. They have a lot of information. There's a podcast on there that they're always talking about new scams that are out there, things to watch out for. I do go on the FBI's website because they have a lot of good stuff on there too. And I know the FBI probably is not going to let their website get hacked. You think this is a scam, you reply stop because you don't want to get it anymore. Don't do that anymore. If you ever see on your phone this report junk, hit that report junk button. That will flag whoever your provider is. If it's Verizon, if it's AT&T, it'll send a message to them, hey, this number is being linked with junk mail, scams, spam. They put that in their file. You ever get a phone call where it says potential spam under it? That's because people are clicking this button right there. That's a new feature that's on a lot of phones that actually is a really good idea, until the scammers figure out how to replace that link with something else that looks like it. So just make sure, if you do see the account, if you do see this come in and you see the report, make sure that report junk is not in the body of the text. So the shaded area right here is the body of the text. That's coming from the sender. This is coming from your phone provider. And I've never seen it. I'm just trying to think ahead of what they would probably do. And at some point, I guarantee they're going to change the font of this. This sender is not in your contact report junk, because people are hitting that now. So if they start putting that in the body of the text and you're clicking on it, trying to do the right thing, you might be opening your phone or device up for malware. In that case, you might actually see two report junks, one in the text message itself and one on the screen from the provider. So if you do see two report junks, that would be a red flag. I wouldn't do anything with it. You just delete it. Nobody looks at this anymore as, man, how dumb could you be? That's not what goes on here. This is a lot of times a fact-finding and information sharing. If you didn't get scammed out of money, and even if you did, call us. Ask a family member or your neighbor, show them what's going on. You could help them not get scammed. You could help us learn about it. We file police reports all the time. I want to say at least 3 to 4 a day on scams. So all the information that I've given you guys today is just the 60 and over community. I have no idea off the top of my head what the numbers are as in the grand scheme of things. I'm sure it's at least 100 times more. Here's the big thing. They want you to hurry. They want you to make an irrational decision really fast. They want that fear of missing out. The kids have this saying nowadays. My daughter always says, "Dad, you got a case of FOMO." And I'm like, "Excuse me?" "Yeah, Dad, you got a case of FOMO." I have no idea what you're talking about. You talk a different language. So FOMO is an acronym for fear of missing out. They want you to have that fear of missing out. Hurry up. I have $2 million sitting in a bank account off seas with your name on it, and if you don't get back to us in 5 minutes, it's gone. Hurry up and call us. And maybe it's not going to start that way. Maybe they're going to wait till they have you on the phone, and they're going to say, "You know what? You need to get to CVS and get a $100 gift card to Google Play, or this deal's gone. Or we're sending the police to your house to arrest you because you had a warrant." And when they get there, you want to make sure that you can tell them that you paid it off with, buying us Bitcoin or gift cards or whatever. So don't let that FOMO, if you guys take one thing out of this, use FOMO to somebody today and just watch their head spin, okay? Fear of missing out. Nobody in this room is expected to be an expert. I told you guys right off the bat, I'm not an expert. There's new stuff every day. Do not be discouraged if you call us and you have no idea what's going on. A lot of people don't. Be patient with the police officer too, because maybe it's something that we've never seen or heard of before, and it can be confusing to us just as much as you guys. Like I said, there's new scams every day. If you report it, we learn about it too. That smishing call, I would have no idea what smishing is if my dad didn't step aside, put his pride aside, and call me and say, "Hey, look what I got." Don't rush. Don't let that FOMO kick in. Fear of missing out, right? Don't let that kick in. Don't let them rush you. And who said it earlier? If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. But I understand that there's people out there that they're looking for opportunities, and not every opportunity is bad. But for what we're talking about today, I don't know of anybody that, besides that one time a year where the Publishers Clearinghouse used to come on it during the Super Bowl. It's one family, one time a year. It's the same as you getting that text message that you just happen to have $2 million sitting in an overseas bank account. That's that Publishers Clearinghouse feeling, and it just doesn't happen. I mean, I bought into that Publishers Clearinghouse thing when I was a lot younger, living at home with my parents. I'm 18. I want to be the 18-year-old millionaire that hits Publishers Clearinghouse. I would sit there and I'd look through the door during the Super Bowl. Are they coming? And my mom's like, "Why, did you submit something? Because I have no idea why they would come to our house." I'm like, "Wait, I had to submit something?" So this is the 2 years, 2020 and 2021. 197,672 people 60 and older who got scammed. The numbers are going to keep going up. So I think if we were to take 21 and 22 and put those numbers, that's going to be over 200,000, probably easy. Unless you think you're better than those 200,000 people right there, you should be calling us. If something happened to you, if you guys were a victim of this, put your pride aside. There are probably a lot of smart people here that just, maybe weren't thinking. Maybe they thought that this was a solution to a problem. Maybe that this was sent from the heavens. And if I click on that watch these kittens link, then all my problems are going to be solved. Let us know. This link too will take you to the Internet Crimes Division of the FBI. Like I said, I'll leave their pamphlet here for you guys to have a copy of. If you don't want to get on their website and look at it, you can look. There's a lot of good information on there, but there's two ways you can report this. You can report it to them directly, and you can report it to us. Even if you aren't out any monetary loss, call us. Let us know, hey, somebody tried to scam me. I need a report on file, and we will.